I want to say something to the workers in Big Tech, because they can pretend they're part of the system, or they can wake up.
You know this. Information slightly offensive, warn your mind slightly offensive. Information slightly offensive, warn your mind slightly offensive. Info warriors, information blazing session, Fahrenheit 451. Without question, 451. Without question, Alex Jones on the blaze. Artwork, autograph, signature move, declaration draft. Glenn Beck drawing in the lines, Elijah Shaver fun lines. Who are here on the mall map? Post-apocalyptic Sherlock, Sydney Watson, the abduction dive. Come to is the crown, still got a prison planet in Australia. Call up Paul Watson, Rand Paul, Ron Paul, Soldier Boy, tell him you versus the government, institution. Here they come, Federal Reserve, build back, build a burn, crash the system, cloud and pivot, true lives here. Info wars on the blaze, BRB, aim away, instant message, messenger, bring back AOL, instant messenger, the shadow pen, big tech sensors, shadow pen, big tech sensors, yeah. Information slightly offensive, warn your mind, slightly offensive, information slightly offensive, warn your mind, slightly offensive, information, info wars, info motion, yeah, no more. Blaze in session, DC heroes, yeah, they in question. 453 times 2 January, said a one big beautiful speech happened simultaneously. While cat police undercover led them to a session. Fake bot inspecting like McAfee, virus agents posing as digital brethren, digital soldiers. And for warriors was celebrating outside with most false in history being fabricated as a weapon. FBI use Green Ranger, Dragons, or fools to blend in. Maybe White Ranger, Saber, Cybers, how you doing? Insurrection without no weapons. Oh wait, information was the weapon. Information was the weapon. Info warriors, trailblazers, Portland, Oregon, Trailatiers, Shaolin verse, Wu-Tang Swords. How our fellow brothers, same country living, having such different opinions. The info war allowed the brain war cycle to rinse and repeat. Dinosaur media, been dead, fossil fuel, unleaded 93. Fill me up, what's an EV? It's a Pokemon named Tesla. It coils up with limited energy. Thomas Edison, Fauci, Tony Stark, Ghostface Killer, Wu-Tang Chi, protect me. Wuhan Fu, Kong Fu, we classic cartoony. Savannah fine, like Georgia growing with peaches in the summertime. Made me laugh, gained a function over form, a sign that here no return, passport invalid.
You might not know a lot about him, or you might know everything. People say that he's crazy. Some people say that he is the reincarnate prophet, letting us know what's going on around the world. But little do most of you know his actual story and how he came to be the most dangerous man on the internet for all the right reasons. Welcoming to Slightly Offensive for the first time, the one, the only, a good friend of the show at Blaze TV, Mr. Alex Jones.
It is really great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy to have you here. You know, it's actually really interesting as we get into this. When we were walking around yesterday, you know that you were looking at some of the paintings that Glenn Beck, that he painted, right? You were admiring some of them.
Yeah, he's a really good artist, yeah.
So Glenn heard about that, and he actually, before he left today, meeting with a politician, he left a signed painting. Let me get this. He actually signed custom. This is his custom painting here, and he signed it, and he wanted to gift it to you specifically from Glenn.
Wow, I am blown away. Thank you, Glenn Beck. And wow, we've certainly buried the hatchet there years ago, but here you go. This is amazing. I know these are incredibly valuable too. I know he sells paintings for a lot of money. So thank you, Glenn. And you know, I'm an artist myself. I haven't painted in years. I'm trying to get back into it. So I'm going to treasure this, and I will definitely keep it and pass it down as an heirloom, and that is powerful. You know, we now see, I've got a great point, we'll get into me, but the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. It's one of the biggest pipelines in the world, and they passed a law that we were going to put sanctions on Germany, since Germany wasn't going to do it, and now it lets Russia cut off Ukraine, do a lot of stuff. I'm not attacking Russia either. I'm just saying they claim we're all Russian agents with no evidence. He just overrode the congressional law, which you shouldn't be able to do with Nord Stream 2, while he cut off the Keystone Pipeline and others. It cost $14 billion to build in a decade. So he's cutting off our pipelines from Canadian gas and oil while authorizing a Russian pipeline that they'll make hundreds of billions of dollars off of. So I'm just saying, that's Russian agent stuff. Remember, he got $3+ million from the mayor of Moscow himself. So that guy is a literal globalist. He's not a Russian agent. He's a globalist agent, like a pimp selling us out, and I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah, it's an intentional destruction. Look at that. You got the painting from Glenn Beck, just to show you that the point that we're all fighting here is the satanic pedophiles. We've united on that. I think when it comes, Alex, to United
I am blown away
Rights,
by this. Glenn,
nice?
thank you. This is unbelievable.
I know.
I mean, I want to see. I saw a bunch of his art and loved it, and I didn't even see this. God, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I was
Let's
actually
just
really
leave that
happy.
up there right now. That's the rest of the show. Right?
It's just Putin and voiced over by Alex Jones with Elijah Shanker today.
On that note, welcome back to Slightly Offensive, the best worst show on Blaze TV, where we always have confetti of color, 8K graphics. Can we get your face shown there for a second, Alex? Give him some confetti. We always have. Oh, look at that! Oh, the confetti comes down. Oh, there it comes up. Whoop.
You never know what you're going to get.
We are also joined, as always, by the lovely and the beautiful resident producer and reporter Savannah Hernandez, who's back.
Wow! Woo!
I know, isn't it nice to be in the room together?
Well, she doesn't work for me anymore. Now I can catcall her.
Oh my goodness. Classy Alex.
Wow!
Classy
Look at
Alex
that.
always.
I am classy.
I'm so happy that we're reunited finally, Alex. I've missed
I'm
you so
married,
much.
Savannah, but if I wasn't,
Yeah, it's true. Remember,
move aside, Owen.
I thought we all got married.
Yeah.
What is
no,
that?
you and Alex got married the last time we went down to his
Oh,
studio
yeah.
in Austin, remember?
I think we became a polyamorous couple.
That was.
That was a really fun. That was actually that was a moment in history. My wife wasn't even upset. She said, if there's anybody that you could leave me for, she said Alex Jones is fine. It doesn't even matter who's involved in the relationship.
Very nice of you.
Yeah, it's true. It's an Australian custom. And honestly, and that's the key thing. As we jump into this, I do want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor for today. Obviously, you have a nice painting there. You have a wonderful painting. And yeah, exactly. And so I wanted to get a painting, as Glenn Beck doesn't give me paintings, and I'm making new memories in the world, and I don't have any multimillionaires transferring me their hand-painted paintings, so I have to find somebody who actually could give me a painting, which is paintyourlife.com. Now, this is so cool. They basically came to me and were like, hey, we want you to be able to, where were you born? What was your ambition? Holding people accountable. Like, they've created
And we were really concerned that he would fit the world order.
as we got into a police state and we have these things coming in. You knew that that George Bush was full of it even when he was governor of Texas.
Well, I knew his dad. I watched his programming. Like, who gets introduced? The COVID thing first talks to you. It was a high production, occultic, druidic ritual.
But you don't think it was like genuinely like Satanism? Like, you don't think they actually believe in the spirits, or is this just more of like, again, like an occultic
Satanism.
thing?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the Babylonian mystery religions that Christians would call Satanism, and so it was a mock black magic ritual where you're killing somebody to put all your cares and things onto the sacrifice.
Then why do people think though?
I mean, so that was done everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
in the Bible, the father of the Abrahamic, religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God tells Abraham, sacrifice your firstborn that you hadn't been able to have. That was his big blessing and the birthright. And when he's willing to do it, the angel stays his hand, and instead, God sacrificed his animal instead. And then there's also a story, that we see in ancient Egypt and also in Greek of that same type of archetypal story.
Yeah, the Jews used to sacrifice animals too for like a sin atonement.
Well, before they were Jews with Abraham, they were killing people.
Yeah, and the Jews wiped out a lot of people. Like
A lot of genocide.
Yeah, a lot of genocide.
The Old Testament, God would order them to kill everybody, but the point is all the groups were doing that back then, and the Ark of the Covenant and all the rest of it. But I'm saying is human sacrifice was ubiquitous worldwide in every group, from the Mayans and Aztecs to ancient Africans to people that were in China 6,000 years ago to the Middle East, and all of it, human sacrifice was going on. Then they got more stylized with gladiators. At first, the Romans, in say 2200 BC, they would only have a gladiatorial fight at the death of a nobleman, and so have two warrior slaves kill each other for that. Then it became, hey, let's make this public. But that was a human sacrifice.
Yeah, what do you think about circumcision? Like, do you think like
that is another
about I Trust Capital, which is the #1 crypto
vaccine passport, or to go in the concert or get on the plane, dictate what shots you take. Ronson, who's a best-selling author already, guaranteed income every month, but then they will dictate that you're sterilized. They'll dictate what shots you take and all the rest of it through that program.
Right, and this is what's interesting is, like, I think you started exposing this for your most famous thing with the Bohemian Grove and showing that this is like a cult actually of everyone together. Does this have audio, Savannah?
It does have a little bit of audio, but I mean...
Okay, so can you...
And by the way, you guys are welcome to use any of my films. It's Order of Death, Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove, 2 different films. You can find them online. You're welcome. This is probably the intro. You're welcome to use any of that you want.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So with the Bohemian Grove, this looks like satanic cult worship. What the hell? I mean, you've talked about this before, but how did you discover this? Because the point is that not that you keep discovering things, not that you keep being on the dollar, but how did you find out about this group of people? And for those that are watching this, a lot of people are young that watch the show, probably have no idea what Bohemian Grove is. So what is Bohemian Grove? How did you discover it? And why was that such a big deal?
Well, people are always asking how I'm able to do all this. Got to take action. It's like I got in a car and drove up here to come on your show. And I've been on air almost 28 years now, starting on Access TV. And so, again, these are copies of copies of copies. You can actually find the good David Gergen interview online still. It's actually in my film Order of Death. I'll send you a DVD. And you guys are welcome to air any clips that you want. It's all copyright free to air. And so I'd heard about Bohemian Grove in the late 90s, but I was still more of a mainline anti-globalist libertarian. And so super right-wingers and people like Ted Gunderson, former head of the FBI in Southern California, and others said, no, they're really Satanists, they're really pedophiles. I thought he was saying a little too much. So they go to a place with a big owl, do a mock human sacrifice of a child. And I'm like, man, that sounds crazy, but Ted Gunderson had a lot of credibility. And then John Ronson, who was a best-selling author already, he wrote the book Men Who Stare at Goats and stuff later, and them, Adventures with Extremists. He had contacts inside Bohemian Grove, a lawyer that was actually one of the locals. They let a few members in that were locals, and he wanted to sneak in for a World of Wonder piece that had Harry Shearer in it from The Simpsons and Spinal Tap. And Harry Shearer actually wanted to make a documentary or a movie about it. They were afraid of liability. So they knew that I had snuck on some military bases and I'd gotten some footage nobody else had. So they said, we're going to give you some inside info. We're going to give you some of the passcodes if the Secret Service talks to you about what camps you're in, this 2,700-acre gorge in Northern California on the Sonoma River, or in Sonoma on the Russian River. And so I get approached when I'm doing a Waco remembrance thing in Waco in like 1998. And he said, hey, in a couple years, I'm planning to try to infiltrate, but I can't do this because of liability. If you'll sneak in with a hidden camera, we will fly you out there. I said, fine. When it comes up, give me $10,000, pay for my plane tickets, and give me the equipment, and I will sneak into this thing. And, there's an owl, and on July 15th every year, they do a mock sacrifice. I'm like, okay, yeah, right, buddy. Then I do more research on it. They fly me out there with Mike Hansen and my girlfriend at the time, now my ex-wife, and we get there, and we talk to locals. They say, oh, you don't talk about that. It's really crazy. And it's July 25th, so I sneak in. I immediately get questioned by Secret Service. I get questioned by the Sheriff's Department. I say, yeah, I'm with the Hillbillies. I use the code word. They really go, ooh, the Hillbillies. That's like the number 2 camp that the Bushes stay at. Then Kissinger has his elite camp. They have this little conference thing. They have world leaders called the Chalet up on the top. There's over 60 camps. It's a 2,700-acre redwood grove. It's a big gorge. On one side is the Russian River, on the other side is the entrance to it. And so I snuck through the parking lot, climbed around, got around into past the first checkpoint, was able to then get on a open top old 50s bus that has the top cut off, so it's open air. Was able to get through, just acted confident, got in, got questioned a few times, figured out, hey, we're going to get busted. Let's climb underneath one of these porches at one of these cabins and wait. Then it started getting dark. I heard German, like Karina Burana music, Hall of the Mountain King, like dun 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 dun, like Nutcracker. And I come down the hill, and there are hundreds of. This is in the film, Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove, and The Order of Death, the second film I made on it. And there are all these men out in these tables under the biggest redwoods I've ever seen, bigger than the National Forest, and, Sequoia and all that. And they're there. And it's getting dark, and so they start leaving to go to the reflecting pond that's about 300 yards down, and it's this big pond with all these bats eating bugs and this big stone idol that's an owl that they call it Moloch. That's the ancient bull they would sacrifice to, so it has 2 meanings. And sure enough, they come out druidically, they burn a child and have a seat to the god. They put all their cares and all their bad karma, what they're about to do in the year, onto the child in a ritual and absolve themselves in the next year, then ask the mother goddess to heal them and to heal them of any diseases they have because they've sacrificed this child in effigy.
But it's a fake child.
Yeah, absolutely. And they take it. I'm sitting there going, this is neat. They go, shut up. And I was going, it's a very important ritual. And these old men are getting off on, this is all the billionaires. There's only about 1,000 people. Some can bring guests. And I'm sitting there with all these CEOs and world leaders. I mean, while I'm hiding on the side of the gravel path under one of the few log cabin deck, had a big deck where I didn't see a lot of people. They're walking by going, I tell you, Reagan was key with our submarine program. Then they go by talking like Thurston Howell III from Gilligan Island. Then another one walks by going, absolutely, once we've got the youth in line, the plan will be implemented. And I'm just hearing them all make these big giant deals and things while all of this is unfolding.
Like this is Satanism. It's the occult, or is this just a ritual?
This is a feeder group where they bring up Druidic sacrifice, Babylonian sacrifice, Tyre was an area in the Middle East on the Mediterranean, and it was like a smorgasbord of mystery religions all together in a mock Faustian sacrifice of Faust getting out of his deal with the devil and actually surviving. And so yes, it was a high production occultic Druidic ritual.
But you don't think it was like genuinely like Satanism? Like you don't think they actually believe in the spirits, or is this just more of like, again, like an occult
Satanism
thing?
Yeah, no, I mean this goes back to the Babylonian mystery religions that Christians would call Satanism. And so it was a mock black magic ritual where you're killing somebody to put all your cares and things onto the sacrifice.
Then why do people think though?
I mean, so that was done everywhere. In the Bible, the father of the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God tells Abraham, sacrifice your firstborn that you hadn't been able to have. That was his big blessing in the birthright. And when he's willing to do it, the angel stays his hand, and instead, God says sacrifice this animal instead. And then there's also a story, that we see in ancient Egypt and also in Greek of that same type of archetypal story.
Yeah, the Jews they say that about us too.
Absolute Savannah Jewish as well. And
that is a verifiable fact.
Absolutely. But
the curls are hiding.
They get really mad when people say Judaic Christian. No, I mean, Europe is Judaic Christian. I mean, that's where we got the Old Testament. The New Testament comes out of that. And that's really the first literature and the culture of Europe pre-pagan. And so that's why circumcision happens, is because the church adopted the Levitical laws of Leviticus, the book of laws. And Exodus has a lot of laws in it as well. And so it is Judaic Christian. And so people that try to cut Judaism off of Christianity is like trying to cut the cart off from the horse.
But people feel really strongly about that, like the idea that they say that circumcision is like satanic, and that it's horrible. I don't have a strong opinion for or against male circumcision. I haven't really thought a lot about it.
Whatever was going on, they had infections, things were going on. And
you're right, though. It's like a mark, though, because you pull your pants down, you know whether you're part of the tribe or not.
Absolutely, it's a gang initiation. Kind of like with the Japanese mafia, that a lot of times their pinky fingers cut off.
But why would God want them to do? Because God was trying to keep like a pure line, because it was for Jesus. There was a sort of like tribalism of bringing brought together, and they literally have 12 tribes, but coming together. And it's interesting because a lot of these things as you grow up, I look down and I've actually been circumcised twice.
So there was a problem with your first one?
Yeah, they didn't cut enough skin off, so they recircumcised me when I was 4 years old. And I remember when I looked down at my pee-pee when I was in the bathtub being circumcised, and it was one of the scariest things I'd ever seen. Now I know why they do it at the 8th day.
Let's stop talking about your pee-pee.
Well, I just meant, okay. You kind of like this conversation.
No, I don't.
I just meant that it's interesting because I was going to say that I think that's why they do it when they're young. My point was when I
don't
look down
blame my parents for this, but I leave my alone.
Hey, you heard it here.
I feel like that's a
don't
fair
touch
thing.
Alex's. Don't do it. Don't get near it.
No, I mean, I'm not, quote, anti-Semitic because I judge people on the character of their deeds and who they are individually. But at the same time, a Jewish religious cultic initiation has been done on me, and I'm saying I probably don't want to do that. Maybe I don't want to be buried. It's an Egyptian thing. Like, I want to do new things.
Hey, that's pretty based. I like that. I like where your head's. Because the thing is that a lot of people don't understand too that Alex Jones is still thinking and discovering, like me too. Like I'm on a journey, like political journey, that I'm opening my mind and my heart, not just whatever.
Well, also my it's not that big, so why are you gonna take me away from it?
Hey, they call mine El Micron, and it's a baby carrot. We found out on the show here. They say this big energy. What about small energy? Exactly.
No. The left always says you like guns, get a little. Actually, no, we're very nice. But the whole point is.
God, Alex, damn it!
The whole point is. But it is a spectacular grower. Like
oh
those,
my gosh.
Like those little balloons to get so big. That's how mine is. But
I'm a growing on a shower too.
When we titled this, "Who is Alex Jones?" I wasn't expecting it to be about your dick, Alex, but okay, we'll take what we can get.
Grower gang, where you at? There's growers in the show.
It's like
I think a lot of Caucasians are growers.
last night, he's sitting there making gay jokes with me. So I said to the co-host girl, "Hey, baby, let's party. You guys bring this stuff up. I'm going to go there. Let's move off the weenies."
We were talking about rituals, and I just thought that's a debate right now.
Oh, Lord.
That's a debate. A lot of people debate that, and I've never actually thought about it till recently when I got into conversation with someone. So now I know
Well,
your opinion on it.
you know the rest of the Jewish ritual, right?
No,
Okay, well, I'll leave it there.
being
And on it will absorb.
so obviously.
He goes, "I'm back I said, "Hey, you're on Spotify." Been up for like to Portugal. And so then I did that little rant, and that's what they took out to try to want total power and control of themselves to play God. And they think you're ignorant. They think you're a slave. Fight on your... So let him and enslave us, bare minimum, throughout history.
Backwards, and you're saying you're a man of action. What do we... Any advice for people who are, people they've been fired for not taking the vaccine? They feel like their country's collapsing. Their kids coming out as transgender, in 6th grade, and they don't even know how to parent their kids. I mean, the world's backwards. And you're saying you're a man of action. What can people do? What would be your best advice for people in this country right now?
People need to not care what the system thinks or says. They need to not feel inadequate and not feel pathetic and realize you're part of an incredible human species that has an amazing destiny throughout history. You need to open up to that amazing destiny, open up to God, not the fake churches, but the real God of the universe, the Holy Spirit. And then you need to realize what's happening in history and discover who the globalists are, who are servants of evil, who want to dominate and control the future development of humanity and enslave us, bare minimum. And that your only future is resisting this. And it's not like, it's work to do. You're actually going to empower yourself by speaking up and saying no and taking action. And then it's just like lifting weights. You're going to get stronger pushing the weights off of you, so letting them just crush you. And then non-compliance, don't go along with this evil. Speak up, tell the truth, it doesn't matter. And realize evil is just going to take over and make it worse till you finally push back. So are you going to wait till you're really in a desperate strait and there's no hope, but at least you know you're going to fight on your feet instead of living on your knees and dying as a slave? Or do you want to fight back now where there's still a really good chance to turn this around? And so just get into history, get into what's happening, learn about Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset, and build back better, and realize they think you're ignorant, they think you're a slave, they think that you're there as raw meat to be eaten because you're acting like that. Stop acting like a slave, stand up and say no, transcend all the labels, rediscover what made America great, why people wanted to come here, and realize global corporations want total power and control of themselves to play God, and they don't want Christians standing in the way of their human animal clones, all the terrible things that are happening, and realize you're not in the year 1982 or the year 1984, you're in the year 2021 with advanced technology, really in the year 2050, and the globalists are about to launch their total revolution of dehumanization. They believe out of absorbing us, they will transcend and become gods, and that you are in a serious globalist eugenics takeover, and you're in grave danger, so you better rise to the challenge like your ancestors did and go to the next level, or prepare to be destroyed.
That's Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen. You can find him. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
freeworldnews.tv is the shadow URL of band.video. You really can't promote band.video on Twitter or Facebook or any of those places. They banned that URL, but freeworldnews.tv is the current URL that's working that takes you to band.video where all our censored videos and reports are. And of course, the dreaded Infowars.com. And tell people, hey, you're not supposed to listen to Alex. He's demonized. He's attacked. Find out what he's really saying. Find out what he's really covering for yourself at the verboten Infowars.com and freeworldnews.tv. And that's where you can find what they don't. We had to build our own infrastructure, our own servers, our own satellite links, everything. That's why Elon Musk, you say he's good or bad, but he didn't take the vaccine. And you notice Elon Musk also said, hey, pretty soon, Xi Jinping can shake his fist in the sky, but we're going to have those satellites. And we're very close to, being on satellites directly to everybody, and that's the future.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close up, I want to let you know, if you make it this far in the podcast, a huge thank you to Alex for taking time out of his day. Remember to rate this podcast on Spotify.
That's part of it. Use your human intelligence to override the censors and highly rate this everywhere and share it. And take this. And I tell people, my listeners, take clips out of my show. It's all free to air. Yeah. Share it. Just get it out there.
Yeah, get it out there. Anyway, we're going to read 2 reviews real quickly, because if you leave the review, you also might get it read on the screen, because we want to let you know that we appreciate you and we want to honor you on here. This one comes from R Button, says, Dream Team, Elijah and Savannah are the dynamic duo I never knew I needed. Keep up the great work, and thank you so much for being a voice of sanity in these absurd times. P.S. Just a friendly reminder that my pronouns are she and they, and that is totally a joke, inside joke here. Also from Marvel Masters 22 said, simp for Elijah. People, let us know if you have a simp for Alex too. You have a lot of simps. A lot of people drool for you.
Really?
Yeah, simping for you. I've been binging Slightly Offensive for months now, and the show is the best. At first, I didn't like Elijah. However, he has grown on me and has become my favorite political commentator. I finally understand why he doesn't post as much on Heck Off Commie anymore, because he's been doing this show.
And you're better today when you're not drunk, like last night.
Oh, shit.
I'm joking. You were not drinking it. It was all an act.
Yeah, it was. It was an act. It was an act. We did drink together one time on air. That was a lot of fun.
We got really drunk. That was not an act.
That was not an act. I got a call from my supervisor. It was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." Andy No drove me home.
Andy No, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he did anyway. So true. I'm happy the Slightly Offensive has been my source of political news as well as my sanity. Thank you, Elijah and Sav, and of course, Sydney and John. Anyway, thank you guys so much again for watching Slightly Offensive, the best, worst show on Blaze TV. Give some confetti of color to Alex.
And thank you, Glenn Beck. Wow, me and Glenn Beck are buddies.
Yep. Don't forget to check out Savannah's YouTube channel as well. It's just got a strike, and her Rapid Fire podcast. Have a great rest of the week, and may God bless the United States of America. And what's left of it, I'm signing out.